In his first public statement, Iran's new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, said that Iran must continue blocking the Strait of Hormuz. The statement has raised serious concerns across the Gulf region and beyond. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most important shipping routes. It is the main passage through which Gulf countries export oil and gas to the rest of the world. Under normal circumstances, nearly 20% of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas (LNG) supply passes through this narrow waterway. However, in recent days, Iran has effectively restricted traffic through the strait and warned that not a single drop of oil will pass through it. This threat has already begun to cause concern among many countries that rely on Gulf energy supplies. The key question now is, are there any alternatives? Most Gulf export terminals are located deep inside the Persian Gulf, and ships must pass through the Strait of Hormuz to reach the open ocean. Countries such as Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and the southern oil fields of Iraq have no alternative route to export their oil and gas. Transporting such massive quantities by rail is simply not practical. Shipping natural gas in containers is also extremely expensive and potentially dangerous. One possible alternative is Saudi Arabia's East-West pipeline, which carries oil to the Yanbu port on the Red Sea. In theory, the pipeline can transport about 7 million barrels per day, but in reality, only 3 to 4 million barrels are usually sent through it. Moreover, it is primarily used by Saudi crude companies. Another concern is that ships leaving Yanbu must pass through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, an area that has become a high-risk zone due to attacks by the Houthi movement. For Asian buyers, this would mean taking a longer route around the Arabian Peninsula. Another option is the United Arab Emirates pipeline that runs to the port of Fujairah, which is located outside the Strait of Hormuz. However, this pipeline can only carry about 1.8 million barrels per day and is limited to UAE oil exports. Ships heading west would also have to travel through the Red Sea, where ongoing attacks have pushed shipping costs and insurance premiums significantly higher. There is also the Kirkuk-Ceyhan pipeline, which carries oil to the Turkish port of Ceyhan. However, this pipeline is frequently shut down. Even when it operates, it mainly transports oil from northern Iraq and cannot handle the large volumes coming from Basra, which remain heavily dependent on the Strait of Hormuz. In the future, ports in Oman, such as Duqm and Salalah, could provide some support. But unless Gulf oil fields are connected to these ports through new pipelines, they cannot truly replace the Strait of Hormuz. Another potential location is Gwadar Port. While ships can dock there, the port currently has no pipeline connections to Gulf oil fields. Without such infrastructure, Gulf crude oil and gas cannot be exported from Gwadar to the rest of the world. This highlights the core problem. Every day, about 20 million barrels of oil pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Even if all alternative routes are combined, they could only handle 6 to 8 million barrels per day. And it's not just oil. This narrow passage is also critical for the transport of fertilizers used in agriculture, LPG for cooking used by millions in Africa, aluminum, petrochemicals, vehicles, and container cargo. If ships are forced to avoid the strait and take longer routes around Africa, deliveries will slow, shipping costs will rise, and market panic could spread. The consequences would extend far beyond energy markets. Fuel prices, power grids, food costs, and global manufacturing could all be affected.